What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rear Naked Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Jamie Kilstein.
I'm the other host, Drew Weatherhead. We're here on episode number 6.
We are doing this. In theory, we have one of my favorite fighters, Jeff Glover, on the show. But I don't know. He just seems like a guy who could be kind of like Eddie Bravo, taken out at any moment by either the government or drugs.
Yes, maybe one for the other too. We've kind of cornered the market so far in 2 episodes. We've gotten all of the best weed fanatic flat earthers that exist in BJJ.
Which means that all of them forgot to like, subscribe, leave a comment, go to our sponsors, use our promo code, or anything that would help the show whatsoever.
They may even have just forgotten the podcast after they did it.
Yeah, but we love them. We love them a lot. Dude, I have been getting so much fucking love for the podcast in jiu-jitsu gyms, online. Like it is it's been really fucking cool.
Yeah, my DMs are filling up on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm getting people that I haven't talked to in like a year just text message me out of the blue. I didn't even know they had my number. Being like, dude, I love the podcast.
Well, I also like I feel like I just talked about this on the Patreon episode for my podcast, for Jamie Kilstein podcast, but I was telling Emma that I used to get people, like when I was going on TV more, who would come up to me like at like airports or whatever. Mm-hmm. They're like, "Hey, I know you, right?" And it's like, well, first of all, that means I'm not famous enough. Or I've had people be like, "Are you famous?" And I'm like, well, clearly not. I'm just famous enough to have this like awkward interaction. But there was a time when I was like crazy political. Someone's like, "Hey, I saw you on like MSNBC or something, right?" And I was like, "Maybe, man." And it'd be like, "Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but I remember I didn't like you." And I'm like, "Can I leave? Do I have to be here while you fucking piece together why you don't like me?" This is an actual nightmare. So like, I'll still occasionally get recognized for like stand-up or Rogan's or whatever. But there was something so much more exciting. I was at like a jiu-jitsu gym and like some like new guy very awkwardly came up to me. Not awkwardly at all. But like very sweetly, I should say, came up to me. I was like, "Hey, sorry to interrupt. I just want you to know I really love the podcast." And I was like, "The jiu-jitsu one?" And I got so much more excited. And I think it's just because we're like, this is clearly our passion.
Uh-huh.
Where like if someone knows me from my old bullshit or from stand-up, I'm kind of like, ugh. But like this made me very happy.
Try to shoehorn them into the BJJ podcast. What, you don't do BJJ? That's fine. That's fine. You can start from here with the podcast, and then eventually you'll do BJJ.
Dude, did I tell you that on my old podcast, the old political podcast, the only way, it became an inside joke where if people wanted me to read their emails, they would put jiu-jitsu question in the subject, and then it would be like, just kidding. So I've been vegan, and I'm like, God damn it.
You wonder how many people do that with Joe Rogan, send him DMs that start with elk meat. It's like, well, I don't know if they like it or not, but I like the start.
Can I fucking tell you, I did that to Rogan. I swear, like that exact thing where I was in New York. I hadn't talked to him for a while. It was like right around when he was talking about like switching his phone number on the show because he was getting mixed up so much. And so I'm like, I can't fucking text him to be like, "Can I go on the podcast?" Whatever. But because he knows I used to be vegan, I was in New York doing shows, and I was at some like paleo place, and I ate elk for the first time. And I texted him nervously, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm like eating elk for the first time." And like, dude, in like 2 seconds, like it transported right into his brain. He was like, "Isn't elk meat delicious?" And like, "It's so sustainable," or like whatever. He just wanted some fucking elk tirade. And then I was like, "Yeah, man, so I come back in comedy." And it like took a lot longer to get responses.
That's so funny. Yeah, dude, that's the move.
You hit it. So everything with you good in jiu-jitsu world?
Yeah, man. I'm still playing around with this reverse Kimura shit. That's really like it's in my head every single class that I'm training right now. I'm trying to teach like fundamental jiu-jitsu to some white belts, but at the same time be like, let's start from this grip today.
Right. Cool. With me,
we're gonna. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, glad you asked. My cat died and my girlfriend's leaving me. Is that what you were going to say?
You beat me to the segue.
About the reverse Kimura grip?
Yes, I was trying to reverse psychologically get back to your horrible run of luck in late.
To my horrible life. No, please finish what you were going to say, because I actually have something very positive I would like to say about my horrible life.
Oh, I was just leading up to teaching people how to get to a triangle from reverse Kimura before they know what a triangle is. So like they'll start with this exotic grip and then this interesting entry for like a blue belt at a white belt level, and then be okay, well, I got my legs here now. Why did I do that?
I mean, isn't that kind of cool though? But I always wonder about that. Like, I wonder with like 10th planet guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get to a certain level where they're incredible. Like, you roll the 10th planet brown belt or black belt and they're so good. But I always wonder, or like little like Meow Brother clones with like Berimbolo. Like, I always wonder if I think if I started in a weird system, I wouldn't have learned so many fundamentals where like I've rolled with 10th planet guys at like blue and purple where I'm like, you know, there's some tricky stuff that's being thrown up and I'm like, okay, I don't really know what this is. I got to be careful. But then like once you get into a normal game or your game, you're like, yikes, do you not know how to hip escape?
Yeah, I used to train with a 10th planet blue belt when I was doing MMA, and all he had ever done was 10th planet as far as jiu-jitsu was concerned, and his like foundation was jiu-jitsu. So his best game was a 10th planet only game.
Yeah.
And I remember from his half guard, which was one of his favorite positions for obvious reasons, you know, Eddie loves his lockdown and everything from there. The only way he knew how to re-guard was to stomp, which for people who aren't in 10th planet, that's like a way to go from half guard to like a single butterfly hook to re-guard.
Yeah.
For me, that's kind of a fancy way of doing it. He had never seen just shrimping.
Right. I mean, I think that like for me, it's cool because I've started training a 10th planet and I love it because I got to go in as a brown belt. So I'm like, cool. I have like my whole game and then I just get to add a bunch of like really dope shit. Like I'm not in the camp that's like fuck 10th planet. I think a lot of times we kind of talked about this with Eddie last week, but a lot of times when there is like such aggression towards someone like fuck Gordon Ryan or fuck, it's like, oh, are you just mad and jealous and someone caught you in fucking lockdown and you didn't know how to get out? So you're just like, fuck him. The earth is round. Like just angrily as you like try to get your fucking leg out, you know?
Yeah, no, that's not it at all. I did some training with Brandon McCaffrey down in Alabama about 1.5 years ago when I was a brown belt, maybe 2 years now. And his guys are legit, man. Like you're saying, once they get to a certain level,
teacher.
He is
Really good teacher.
Yeah, and his like purple belts and up, they were dangerous, man. You got to watch out for them. They'll tie you up in some spider shit you haven't seen before.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so look, back to my shitty life. Actually, no, good news. Dates TBA, but Drew and I will actually be doing our first joint seminar with BMAC, and we're also going to make it a fucking live show. So it's going to be me, Drew, BMAC, and Eli Knight, who you know from YouTube, and he's one of the best guys. I've never met any of you guys. Drew and I have never rolled. BMAC and I have never rolled. Eli and I have never rolled, and we have all become so close on the internets. So we're gonna make it a seminar where I'm sure you'll be teaching some of your reverse Kimura. I'm gonna show a bunch of my like Marcelo Guillotine stuff. But then we're gonna do a live show. So anyone who's at the seminar, it's gonna be like we're gonna fucking set up a table. We're gonna set up recording gear. We have to figure out how to do that, and then BMAC and Eli will come on the mat. And we'll videotape it and we'll make it a fucking seminar/show. And if it works, we want to do this everywhere. We want to do fucking seminars/shows, interview local guys, and have it be a thing that Drew and I travel around the world to do.
Yeah, this is a really cool thing that a lot of bigger podcasts are doing right now. And just in like the mainstream area is they're doing live shows in like small theaters and get-togethers. Are bringing in a couple thousand people. I mean, I've seen some Twitch guys that bring in 10,000 people just to watch them play video games on stage.
Jesus
but
Christ.
What we bring to it is kind of twofold compared to what they can bring. They just bring, you know, the talking and the entertainment, which is it's fun. But we can actually leave some jujitsu with people too, which is something that's great. You know,
and I want to do like Q&As afterwards with the audience and like talk about everything from like mental health to I'm doing my first jiu-jitsu seminar February. I'm doing it at 10th Planet in New Mexico at Dark Haven with our good friend Nate Harris. And I really want to leave, it's 3 hours. It's cheap. It's like $30. But I want to leave room at the end for like a Q&A where we can talk about like anything from like depression to, I don't know. I think that's one of the things that doesn't get talked about a lot, especially in like masculine sports,
Yeah. So all joking aside, Jamie has had a pretty shit run in the last 2 or 3 weeks. His Christmas was not very fun. I don't want to like get into details. I'll let you do any of that. But now is kind of where he has to, and it's not the first time for sure, but he's found himself having to actually live out those motivational things you tell people who are going through bad times.
Dude, that's what I said on the podcast today. I posted my podcast, which you guys can hear on iTunes and all that stuff, with Kyle Kingsbury, former UFC fighter, on it, psychedelic journeyman. I think I titled it From Titty Bars to Philosopher or something like that, because he used to bounce at titty bars, and now he's like this like fucking like academic. And I fucking I like talked about the cat in the beginning. And Kyle's so perfect because I made a joke about how, Kyle's like so fucking manly and he's a UFC fighter. And it's like, when you listen to the Kyle Kingsbury podcast, like when I'm fucking kicking ass and taking names. But I've also heard Kyle Kingsbury cry on that podcast so many times because he had like a powerful ayahuasca journey or some shit. So I'm like, all right, I can cry about my cat. Like he's tough and vulnerable, which I appreciate. But the reason I wanted to bring it up, so yeah, if you guys want to hear me cry about my cat, I promise I will not do that on this podcast. But the reason I brought it up is because when I was in politics, and I thought I had a group of friends in New York, and every time something bad would happen or my life would implode or the divorce or whatever, they weren't there. And these were people that talk a big game online about taking care of each other and shit like that. And they would only kind of show up when they wanted me to like introduce them to a booker on CNN or some shit. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, the people who reached out to me, Rogan was like the first person that reached out to me, and a lot of these comics, a lot of these like misfits. And so, yeah, like Drew said, mom almost fucking died. Cat died, and like anyone who follows me on Instagram or listens to my podcast knows like me and that cat, Talib Kitty, which by the way, I didn't say this on my podcast. So Talib Kitty, I opened for the rapper Talib Kweli, and then I adopted Talib from a kill shelter and named him Talib Kitty. And I feel like this is the closest I've known what it's like to be a person of color, dealing with a lot of white people, is every time I would call the vet, they would be like, are you Talib's dad? Or like Talib? Like the fucking white people versions I heard of Talib. I was like, no, Talib Kitty. But anyway, so yeah, so he was like my like dude, like from LA, got him when I had nothing, moved him here, like, spend all day with him. And so it was really rough. It was really bad. I've never lost a pet before. And I was fucking wrecked. The reason I bring this up on this podcast is because you were the first person that I wrote. And I've never met you, right? And the first people who started texting me their phone numbers and stuff were a bunch of professional jiu-jitsu fighters that we're friends with, that we have group chats with on Instagram and stuff like that. And I got, from this podcast, I got two, I'm on airplane mode, but I had two people write this morning, like in a row, let alone, I mean, I got like a barrage of emails yesterday that I haven't totally gone through yet, but I had like this one guy fucking knows you. He's like, hey man, you don't know me, but I'm an old friend of Drew and a purple belt up in British Columbia. By the way, I want to make it
Rick.
Yes, it is. I've been binging the podcast last few nights and I love it. I want to say I'm real sorry about your cat, man. He told me about him and his wife having to put his cat down, which I'm so sorry. Also, this other guy, Lula, hey man, you don't know me, but my love is stand-up news and politics and all things jiu-jitsu. Let me back to you. I'm praying for you and Talib. I'm a born-again Christian. Like, I'm so sorry to hear about his passing. Like, I mean, these things like legitimately brought me to tears. Quick side tangent. I want to do a sketch about jiu-jitsu guys having to introduce themselves by like jiu-jitsu credentials. Like if there was like a fire and someone was like, can anyone help with that fire? They'd be like, I'm a purple belt. And they'd be like, oh, okay, fine. Well, can you go? And they're like, hey, do you know that guy over there? He's like, why? Did he start the fire? He's like, no. I fucking tapped him like last Tuesday. But anyway, so I've never felt so much fucking love from a community of people that like, I'm a brown belt, but publicly I'm fairly new in the jiu-jitsu world. And, these guys were like, if you want to like hang out, like people sent me their phone numbers. It really fucking meant a lot. And it showed me exactly, this is what we are trying to build. We are trying to build the kind of community that if like something happens to one of us, to one of you guys, everybody is like, even if it's just words of encouragement, like steps the fuck up. And like, that's the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu. And that's the beautiful thing about podcasting. And so Drew and I, combined with that, you showed me that what we are trying to create is happening already. And I really, really appreciate it. It helped get me through a lot, knowing that you guys had my back. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, that was perfect. I can't even really follow that, but I'm really happy that you have that type of support system at this specific time. I don't think that's it's something you should go through by yourself. And
yeah. Oh my God, can I tell you a funny version of that? So then 2 of my fucking 10th Planet friends from here in Arizona, I was like fucking crying or something. And I look and there's like 10 text messages back and forth. And I'm like, oh man, like Cody and Steph are reaching out. Like, cause they reached out earlier to make sure I was okay. But I was like, oh, I guess they added to the thread. And one of them was buying weed from the other one. And that was like the most jiu-jitsu thing that could have happened, where I was just like, oh, they're probably making sure if I was okay. And then I was like, are you guys doing a drug deal? Take me off fucking group thread. I don't need to be on this right now.
That's hilarious.
Made me laugh so fucking hard. I also want to read one more text from a good friend of mine. He's this great TV producer, and I trained with him and I taught him in Los Angeles. And he loves our fucking podcast. And he sent me this great text, and I was like, can I read it? And he's like, I would be honored. He goes, I just want you to know, last week I got wrist locked by a white belt while the professor was watching me, and heel hooked by a 15-year-old in 2 consecutive rounds. I won't go to confession, so I thought I would tell you instead. Which I just thought so wonderful.
And now the world knows.
And now everybody knows. He's excited about it. But like, what's funny is I wonder if he was like rolling with the 15-year-old and he was so pissed off about getting wrist locked by the white belt. He was like thinking about it. Like, fucking, how did I let myself get wrist locked? Like just thinking like, I'm going with a 15-year-old. Like, do they even know what do they do? Fuck. Tap. So that also made me laugh. Quite tremendously,
vociferously.
Oh my God! So thank you. I'll leave him kind of anonymous, but thank you to my wonderful friend.
Dude, you know what made me laugh yesterday was watching your opening video for the Origin box. If you haven't seen that, it's up on my Instagram right now. It's a great box opening of a bunch of cool shit that Origin sent Jamie.
I should probably post that. I don't remember what I said. It was true. Oh, I do remember being like getting so excited to get like a Jocko package and being like, I'm a fucking man now. And literally when I touched the gi, the first thing I said was, oh, it's so soft. And I said it in that voice and I put it against my stupid fucking face.
You have to though, because I got the same gi and it is so soft. It feels like a Persian carpet or like a Persian $10,000 sofa.
Right, except it was made in America, unlike the other gi companies, where it's made by Persian slaves.
Who are also terrorists.
Persian slaves who are terrorists. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but every Shoyoroll gi that you buy, Shoyoroll assassinates American hostage overseas. Which I look, I'm not like bang on my chest American, but I'm going to say that I don't want my gi company assassinating hostages that have been kidnapped by ISIS, right?
Yeah, you know what? One of the inside jokes with Shoyoroll is that they never let people know like their how they make their fabrics, where it comes from, what companies they're using, where. And now that we know that it's made with U.S. American hostage hair,
yeah, it makes the inside joke a little less funny,
right?
Because they're just laughing and laughing and laughing about it. Well, meanwhile, there are American children of servicemen who are like, "Where is Papa?" And it's like, "Fucking ask Shoyoroll. That's fucking you wanna know? Fucking ask. Go to any generic gym where everyone just buys whatever fucking brand is cheap or there's some fucking deal online. Not us. We get our gis from fucking originmain.com. They are made in America. They have killed no hostages. They have only killed terrorists because it's Jocko's company. So that's actually like, that part's real.
Yeah, if Jocko keeps at it long enough, he's going to kill enough terrorists that other gi brands can't even make their gis anymore. I think that's the play.
Right. That is how they're going to become the number one gi company, is if there are no more terrorists, there are no more fucking gis. You guys don't have to. And then that brings another question. We're eventually going to have Keenan on the show who's talked about this. But does that mean like Gracie Baja and like all those places that like require you to wear their gis, are they accomplice to terrorists?
At least at a general level, maybe even an admiral.
Oh, Jesus. Well, look, if you guys don't want to, you can go to originmain.com, use promo code RearNaked, support American jobs. I mean, fuck, support our troop. We almost went to war with Iran. Now's the time. originmain.com, promo code RearNaked, best fucking gis in the world. And yeah, you can check out my unboxing on Drew's Instagram. Back when I was happy, the cat was not dead. Then I made the unboxing video and Drew's like, "This is really funny." And I'm like, "I'm going to post it." And then my cat died and I was like, "I can't post this. I can't post anything where I'm happy or smile." Like my stories are literally just like me crying. And then if you went to my feed and I was just like, looky at this rash guard.
Yeah. So he had me throw it up for that reason. But, we're going to get to Jeff Glover here now, which is interesting segue because he literally trains with Jocko.
Right. We should ask him about Jocko.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to ask him about that.
Because those
Dean
are
Lister and serious manly men.
Those are very different personalities.
Yeah, I'm very curious how their jiu-jitsu mashes because, I could just picture Jeff Glover going into Donkey Guard and spinning 360s in front of Jocko while Jocko just falls like a cedar tree onto him and squishes him like a bug.
Oh, I just imagined if he tried to pull Donkey Guard, Jocko would just pull a gun on him. Just be like, stop doing that, is what he would say.
Yeah, and now we've gone into real world jiu-jitsu. Back to the gun.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's get to our interview with Jeff Glover.
Cool.
Okay. Guys, we did an intro for Jeff Glover. Then we interviewed Jeff Glover. We have to redo an intro for Jeff Glover.
100%.
So much you guys need to know.
We were not ready for that. I had an idea in my head that it might be a little bit weird.
Okay, so I've been telling you all day it's going to be weird, right?
Yes, you have, yeah.
I've been dropping pretty blatant hints. That
to the point that you were surprised when I said that he's ready to go.
Oh, I was late to the call because I'm like, he's not showing up. I was like, my computer was on the other side of the room. I was casually brewing coffee at 2:30 and you were like, "Get on the line." And I was like, "What the fuck?" Okay. So we need to preface it with he's great. It's great. But you have to, as a listener and as an interviewer, you have to work a little bit to get the greatness.
Yes.
The nuggets of wisdom that were there.
Oh yeah.
Fucking amazing. But Drew and we had to drill a little bit. And also you should know that he's walking around Magic Mountain, going through security and smoking pot.
Yes, that's a common theme throughout the whole episode. And if you're watching it, you're
It's
probably
just
going to have a very, very good understanding of what his cauliflower ear looks like, because he
You
doesn't
are
have earbuds in. He's talking, looking into the phone, but when he's listening to us, he's just putting the phone up to his ear. So you just get to see inside of his ear canal.
whilst hearing children running around in the background, because again, he's at Magic Mountain. Now, when Drew, I think it was my idea to get Jeff Glover.
Uh-huh.
When Drew said, yeah, we should get Jeff Glover, I should have probably guessed, hey, he's going to be high at Magic Mountain when we do this interview. Like, once it happened, like, once I was like, I saw him and I started to piece together that he's at Magic Mountain, I was cursing myself for being like, how did I not know this is exactly what was going to happen? Of course that is what's happening.
Well, I was waiting for Jamie to jump on the line. I had Jeff for like a minute or so just chatting.
Total nightmare. I'm so sorry.
No. Listen, he comes on, he pops on, and it's Jeff Glover with a shaggy beard, with a toque or a beanie on, with a wife beater, walking around like, all of this is so California already. He's got shades on. The camera's not even really looking at him. It's like, he's pretty.
He's like intimidatingly cool. When at the end, instead of being like, "Hey, can I plug my sponsors?" he was like, "Can I do shout outs?" And he did it like Eminem. I was like, "This is fucking incredible."
Dude, can we talk about the time that just some random guy came up and said Wu-Tang, and he said Wu-Tang back, and they did like a little handshake, and everybody knew it.
And that was it. That was enough said for them. I don't know if that was a Jeff Glover. I don't fucking know. So look, how's the audio going to be? Probably pretty bad. Are there weird, awkward pauses? 100%. Do I start panicking and talking too much because Jeff gave like a 2-word answer several times? Abso-fucking-lutely. Is the interview good? I fucking think it's really good.
It's really good.
So the premise of it that I really loved, because I was like, I can't let it go off the rails. I had to be I feel like I had to be like, I kept trying to be like, you're saying something deeper than you fucking realize right now. Failure to get good at jiu-jitsu, how being a failure in life is what made him good. I really fucking loved. I loved what he talked about when it came to like developing his game and just getting guys to chill the fuck out while also training really hard. I loved it. I mean, I think he's such there's no one that I've rolled with Marcelo and Hodger and Ryan Hall, and there's no one I really want to roll with more than Jeff. He just has like a style that I legitimately idolize. We got to find a way to get to San Diego and do like a video, almost like a session with him or something.
For sure. Those are so much fun. Even if you don't do jiu-jitsu, you watch him playing jiu-jitsu in the gym, and it is so much fun. It's just exciting to see the strange but fluid movements that he uses. It's like watching an animal in the wild. It's fascinating.
God, and I cannot stress. I'm going to fucking buy his goddamn DVD series because my deep half is literally me going, I'm in deep half, and then getting like Kimura or like, I don't think I've pulled deep half since blue belt.
Yeah.
Just fucking garbage. But it's so when people pull deep half on me, I literally just hover, and then I guillotine them. But man, when you get someone when you watch the way he fucking does it, or like him and Ryan Hall, like both of them with deep half, like watching a small guy who can do it, it brings you back to that, like, oh, jiu-jitsu's magic,
Yeah.
God damn it. I wasn't going to train tonight either. And I'm going to train now.
You should check out that BJJ Fanatics series he has first and come in with a couple ideas.
That's a really good idea. That's what I'm going to do today. That's what I'm going to fucking do. All right.
Okay, guys, you are in for a hell of an interview. Hold on to your butts. It's going to be weird. It's going to be awesome all at the same time.
Super weird.
Episode 6, Jeff Glover.
Fuck yeah.
One of the questions I wanted to bring up anyways, we'll just get right into it here. Since Jamie's in. Hey, Jamie.
What's up, Ben? Thanks for doing this, Jeff.
Yeah, you guys are welcome.
Sweet. One of the questions I had for you was, you're talking about people you trust to train with. I know you trained down with Dean Lister and Jocko, and I feel like those are maybe some of the more dangerous people in the world to train with. They scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, well, they're definitely dangerous men, but
Uh-huh.
are they like dangerous training partners? That's a different story, and I would say no.
Oh, that's good to know. So they save the aggression for heel hooking people in ADCC and for killing terrorists.
Yeah.
Do you notice that where a lot of times like the scariest dudes are kind of the most chilled out or humble, and sort of the least scary, just because like they're scary when they need to be, but like jujitsu almost like tames that beast.
Yeah, I see what you're saying about that. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Some dudes are just always fucking dangerous. Some people are just always clumsy. You know what I'm saying? Like I hate training with clumsy people that like slip, or they post. They don't like look where they put their hands. Like they'll put their hand right on my dick.
Yeah.
like full on. I'm like, damn, you know exactly the shape and size of my penis now, sir.
Are you sure they don't know exactly what they're doing and they're just trying to grab your dick?
Right? No, I'm not sure of that, actually, to be honest with you.
I remember I asked when I was a white belt, I was super spazzy and getting injured a lot. And I asked Marcelo Garcia, I was like, what should I do to stop getting injured? And he's like, just do more jujitsu. And I was like, no. But like, I'm getting injured doing jujitsu. And he was like, yeah, but if you do more jujitsu, you'll know how your body works and you won't be like a spaz, essentially.
Hell yeah. That sounds about right.
So you're out here at Magic Mountain, walking around the wild world, doing a jiu-jitsu podcast.
Yeah.
How you feeling? You feeling pretty good?
Oh man, life's great, bro. I have my work, job, career situation is really, really convenient for me to be able to travel and be on the road. And I make money on the internet basically, and I make money, on my seminars, and my gym kind of runs itself. So the times when I leave and I want to, just leave the gym for a week, it's like not a big deal. The brown belts cover classes and they're more than happy to do it because it's a chance for them to, practice their teaching skills as well.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's like, dude, you know what? One thing I learned from Pete the Greek, man, is don't stay anywhere so long that people take you for granted, bro.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that. Speaking of making money online, like your Instagram's been taken down a few times. What the hell happened with that?
Man, your guess is as good as mine. I still don't know what happened, but there may be some crazed ex-girlfriends involved in that, or drug-fueled parties that were photographed on that Instagram. I don't know which one it was. I don't know if it was me talking about flat Earth. I don't know.
I like that it's either flat Earth or a crazy ex-girlfriend is like
that's like a new power that crazy exes have now. Instead of revenge sex, they can get your Instagram taken down.
It is a powerful attack.
That would be the worst. I'd be like, I would rather you cheat on me than get my fucking blue check mark on Twitter taken away.
That's going to be like a new fatality for the new Mortal Kombat game. It's like fatality. It's like Instagram deleted. Like, no,
I worked so hard on my stories. I wanted to ask you, just when you were talking about kind of like living the dream with jiu-jitsu, we actually talked about this earlier in the episode where I dropped out of high school to start stand-up kind of when I knew that was what I wanted to do. And I think it was a combination of I know what I want to do, so I'm going to go for it, but also I'm very bad at anything else I try. What was it that kind of got you to that point of I'm going to make jiu-jitsu like not just a hobby, but my career? And do you kind of have advice for people listening who want to do that?
I don't know, man. It's a long story. I feel like a lot of it was just divine intervention from the gods or from God or something. Made sure that my little fucking narrow-minded, fucking ignorant ass found something positive at a very, very ripe age, and found somebody positive at a very ripe age. Around 17, I was turning 16, 17 when I met Frangia. And, his personality, he's just like, dude, he just takes people and tries to like make them dope, and I was ready to be taken. And, you know, it's like he made the choices for me, man. He made the choices for me. It was like, Jeffy, you're not going to do stupid shit. You're going to go do tournaments every weekend. And I was like, all right, good. I needed this, you know? And, is that kind of what you were asking me?
Yeah, no, that totally is. But then, you know, what was it sort of in you? Was it just like the admiration of your coach, or did you kind of have to have a moment where you're like, all right, I could be a fuck up, or I could keep going down like the jiu-jitsu?
Bro, I didn't even think that far ahead. Honestly, I didn't. I was just like, what move is Frangia teaching tonight? That's all I can think about. That and like getting laid.
I like how it feels like we're all at Magic Mountain right now. I can hear like all of the music and all the sound effects. I think our actual
going into a ride?
We're going through a metal detector right now.
My phone, sorry.
Oh, amazing.
Welcome to the free world where your phone might go through a metal detector for terrorist bombs.
All right, I'm back here with you guys, though. But
yeah, man.
You know what I was going to say? Like, you know, I was so naive and just in my own little world. I wasn't thinking about the future at all. There was zero thought about that besides, like, the next tournament. And it's like, imagine if I had done that in life with, like, any other route besides jiu-jitsu.
But I don't think you would have been able to, right? Like, I know with me, it's like I thought I was fucking stupid when I dropped out of high school, and I realized like I just didn't like it. So when I started doing stand-up, suddenly I'm performing with like some of the smartest people in the fucking world, and I was like, oh, I'm just not good at doing things that I don't give a shit about, which I think is probably what happened with you.
Exactly. That's the nail on the head right there. It was like, I just want to do things I like, and I like wrestling and choking people.
Right.
And this guy lets me do it for free, and everyone fucking praises me for it. I'm going to keep doing that. And it was the first thing I was ever really good at. I wasn't good at shit, you know?
But you're really good at it. Like, there's a lot of people that love doing jiu-jitsu, but anytime I watch any of your matches, they are without a doubt, and it seems like effortlessly, some of the most entertaining jiu-jitsu I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Jiu-jitsu came very naturally to me. I got good really fast. But it was a shock to me because I wasn't good at anything else. Everything else I tried in life, I fucking failed and just watched other people learn better and faster than me and just surpass me in everything I wanted to get good at. And I was so little and small, and no one ever gave me the time of day. And then in jiu-jitsu, all of a sudden there's like weight classes, and it's like, well, how do you do against people your own size? Don't have to like fight everyone who's bigger than you. Right. And then it was like, okay, now I can really shine, dude.
Do you think
this is? Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you think that part of like, because I agree with Drew. I mean, not to grab your dick like your training partners, but I'm like a huge fan. You're one of my go-to fighters when I'm trying to like convince a girlfriend that jiu-jitsu is cool. I'll like find your like Super Mario highlight, and I'm like, look, and like,
bro, that has gotten me laid so many times.
Because of the highlight, or because of 90s nostalgia?
Some girl is like,
Wu-Tang, brother.
Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang all day, dog. Respect.
This is so California right now.
This is the greatest interview. This is my favorite interview.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, I've had some crazy situations happen from jiu-jitsu, man, that would never happen if I wasn't like famous in jiu-jitsu.
Okay, so that I'm going to save for the end of the interview, but on a technical term, and this is kind of like a cheesy question, but do you think that one of the reasons your style ended up being so innovative is just because like you finally found something you were having fun with? I feel like a lot of times when people take it, it's like you got to find that balance, right? Where you have to train seriously and train a lot, but if you're also not having fun while training or while sparring, I feel like your style can become really stagnant. Is that one of the reasons that your style is kind of more fun and entertaining to watch?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm really different from like Gordon Ryan. He always talked about like working hard. You know, he talks about working hard and this and that. And it was like, dude, it wasn't that for me. I did jiu-jitsu because it wasn't work, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it wasn't work. That shit was fun, and I could do it, and I was flexible, and it worked for me, and it wasn't difficult. And it was like I wanted to be there. It's not like lifting weights for me. I don't want to do that, dog. Like wrestling practice. I don't want to do that, dude. I don't. You know, like, but I wanted to fucking do jiu-jitsu and pull people into my guard and fucking triangle them. That was all I wanted to do, and I wanted to do it 3 times a day.
Yeah, man, that's how I like to describe my own jiu-jitsu is the better I get, the lazier I can be. The less I have to do, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that's really cool about your style, besides just you're just very frenetic and you're very kinetic in the way you move, you're just very, very fast and exciting, is you're innovative as well. And one of the things that for people who haven't seen a lot of your shit yet might not know is you've come up with your own guard that I don't think I've seen anybody use before, called Donkey Guard. Are you still using that?
Yeah, I mean, the donkey guard is like an accidental thing, but I don't really use it, to be honest with you. I just did it a few times in competitions that were like, you know, really high profile. And I don't know who coined the name. I didn't coin the name, but I'll tell you what, dude, the donkey guard thing gets me so much attention in jiu-jitsu. And I'm really thankful for that it came into my life.
I was hoping you were going to say, I want all of your answers to be like, that also got me laid.
Well, it doesn't get me laid, but it's what I do when I'm getting laid.
I was going to say, do you set her up in Donkey Guard? Is that how that works? That's where you got the idea?
Yeah, I'm like upset at a woman when I have sex with her and she doesn't know what that is. I'm like, you didn't study up, girl?
Come
you
on.
Didn't study up on my game? There's footage of me online. Come on, you should know.
She's like, I couldn't because your last crazy fucking ex got your Instagram taken down.
Yeah, and she messaged me too.
What do you like with some of like even with with Donkey Guard, or I mean even deep half? Like my deep half game is pulling deep half and then getting fucking smashed. Do you think that putting yourself in these kind of vulnerable situations, I mean, you're technical with it, but is there something psychological to it too? Like I take a lot of inspiration from you with my stand-up, where I'll just have shitty posture and kind of like turn my back a little, and it makes people very hesitant to attack. Is there something psychological to it, or again, are you just doing like the fun thing?
You know, it works every time I do it against whoever I do it against, and the bigger they are, the better it works. And I'm talking about the Deep Half Guard series that I do and teach.
Yeah.
It's available on the DVD from BJJ Fanatics currently.
Fuck yes.
It just the fact that I know it's going to work every time I go for it, it allows me to do more flashy techniques that might not work. And then when those flashy techniques don't work, I can fall back to the deep half guard, and I know that will work.
Yeah, you know, anybody who ever asks me, who trains with me about deep half, I'm like, you know what? I'm not the greatest at it. Look up Jeff Glover.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's... Oh, we lost your video here. That's okay.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay. The deep half itself is kind of a weird one because, like Jamie's saying, if you suck at it, it sucks twice as bad. But if you're good at it, I've run into some people where, like, I like to knee cut pass, and it just plays right into them getting underneath me, and now they got my back.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, I developed it to a point now where it just works every time I do it. There's definitely, like, 9 or 10 little principles that you'll have to, like, understand and master. You know, like, for example, I can run it through for you real quick. It's like there's 3 ideas when I do deep half guard. It's like, how do I get to the position? What do I do when I'm in the position offensively? And what do I need to do defensively? Those 3 things. It's like, how do I get there? How do I sweep you with it? And what do I need to watch out for? With those 3 subjects, I'm untouchable with it.
Nice.
What would you say to people who, like, okay, so my version of your deep half is like I try to attack guillotines from everywhere. With that said, when I first started it, I just got fucking destroyed. So when I was like, I like guillotines, the way I got good at it was by fucking up, right? Like I would go for it when I shouldn't have. I would get my back taken. I would hold on to it too long. What's your kind of advice for people who are developing either deep half or a game like deep half, where like in the beginning, you're probably going to get your ass kicked more than if you just played it safe, but the payoff will be worth it.
What's the question? Sorry.
So, like, when you're trying to develop a game that before you get good at it kind of puts you in a worse situation, right? So, like, if I want to develop deep half, that means I'm going to get the shit kicked out of me a lot more than if I just stood up and played the game I was good at. Like, what's your advice for developing a game that in the beginning you're kind of going to get fucked up a little more until you learn it properly?
I would just say that you're going to get fucked up on everything when you first start it, so don't be shy.
Just do it.
Do you just
Don't be
practice
shy,
it
bro.
live more? Do you drill it more? How do you?
Motherfuckers overthink shit, man. You guys get all frustrated when shit doesn't work right away. I got it. It doesn't work in my game. I got to do something else. Let's do spider guard. Hey, I saw this guy do this one guard on the internet, man. I'm going to do that one. No, coach. I got my own style now, coach.
Right. So
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that totally does. So like,
Just do what I say. That's all you got to do is just do what I say.
but what,
Just
like,
fucking do it.
so then mentally, when it comes to the way you train, what has given you that kind of like, I don't give a fuck attitude where you're willing to keep going at it and not take it so seriously and not freak the fuck out?
Oh God, I'm such a failure in everything in my every aspect of my life. That it's like, what else more damage could I do by failing in jiu-jitsu? Like, what's the big fucking deal?
That's fucking great.
So much, dog. Like, literally everything I've ever done, I've fucking sucked and failed at it, and like crashed and burned, and fucking girlfriends like hurt me, and I broke up, and nothing's ever gone my way. It's like, well, fuck it. Maybe this will, you know.
So would you say that
I'll
you
be
have
all
a
right.
black belt in failing then, and that's what helps fail to win?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm good at failing, bro.
But do you think that that's also like what's gotten you? Because look, a lot of people would fail and then they would give up, right? Or they would just fucking quit jujitsu and find something else to fail at. Do you think that in a weird way, that's kind of like failure has become your superpower?
Man, those people just don't enjoy it enough. You have to enjoy every aspect of jiu-jitsu. You can't just enjoy winning.
Oh, that's really cool.
You have to enjoy the like getting out of submissions. You have to enjoy like defending stuff. You can't just like enjoy getting the bow and quickly get the bow and arrow choke, tap him, win. Yeah.
Right.
Like, dude, there's so much more to it. You have to enjoy like doing demonstrations. You have to enjoy working with kids. You have to enjoy working with like older people, with like disabled people, with fucking blind people. You have to enjoy all aspects of jiu-jitsu. The guys that get all caught up with just like winning, like, oh fuck, I'm so worried about losing, dude. What do I do? It's like, oh, it's part of the game. You're trying to avoid some shit that's gonna happen anyway. You're gonna stress yourself out and you're gonna suck.
Do you think that there's something that the culture kind of plays into everybody being so uptight? Do you think it's because maybe like there's lack of opportunities? Like, is there something we can do sort of like as a community to kind of get people to fucking enjoy it again?
Yes. It's called marijuana, my friend. You take
there it is.
You roll it up into these little
Now we've gone peak California.
tube-shaped things. And you take it, you put it in your mouth, right?
Yep.
And then you get this thing. It's called a lighter.
Okay.
And then you fucking light that shit.
Doesn't matter which hand you use to light it or what grip you use on the lighter, you just light it.
Oh, that was my feet. I was using my foot right there.
Nice.
This is sick.
So wait, I had a phase where I was asking every guest relationship advice, but then we had Eddie Bravo on last week, and now I'm going to ask every guest weed advice. I'm a fucking idiot when I smoke pot, where I'm just every bad cliche, eat, fall asleep. I've never created anything. How the fuck what's your advice to smoke weed and get better at jiu-jitsu?
Huh, that's an interesting question. You just gotta practice, man. You gotta practice. You gotta get good at smoking weed. Like, do you know how to take bong hits?
Dude, hilariously enough, the one girl I dated was in San Diego, and we would do bong hits, and I couldn't fucking roll. I would like have sex, and then I would fall asleep, and I'd like hang out with her dog. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I would say like, practice like. Just practice putting yourself in shitty situations. Like, get as physically high on marijuana as possible. Take like 5 bong hits, and then go to like a meeting. Go to like a really important social event. that you need to get like close eye contact with like people having champagne and shit. Get really, really baked for events like that.
Right.
And then it's like, dude, it's gonna force you, man, to like make some shit happen, and don't crash and burn. Work through the struggle.
Right.
And then, it's like training, and then over time, it becomes no big deal, man. Like, I'm high for this interview, man.
Right. Well, to be fair, you're also at Magic Mountain, which seems like the most wonderful place in the world.
Litty to a titty boy.
Yeah.
What do you like legitimately?
I'm gonna have to put this phone through the thing again. Hold on.
Yeah.
All right, do it.
Yeah.
Drew, can we talk about?
Yo,
Talk
for
about
the
it.
ride.
that he has to put his phone through security while smoking weed.
Dude, like I was saying, this is peak California, dude. Any other country, if this were in Taiwan right now, you'd have like one of 3 limbs chopped off.
Oh yeah, Jeff would be dead. We would be wanted. There would be wanted posters of Rear Naked Radio. There we go. We're in the security. By the way, guys, we usually tell you to watch the interview on YouTube. I was going to say don't do it, but it's hilarious because it's either the phone going through security. Perfect. What? Okay, so look, some people just fucking smoke weed because they like it, and they can smoke weed and they can do jujitsu. That's fine or whatever. But it seems like with you, it seems like, do you think that it has enhanced your jujitsu?
I wouldn't say that. No.
You wouldn't.
No.
Well, I got a question on that actually, because you've competed in a competition that requires you to smoke while you do it.
Oh, my buddy Matt runs that.
Though. That's not true. It wasn't required.
It wasn't?
No, it wasn't required.
Okay, but anyways, you have definitely been smoking slightly before competing, like right there on the mat. I guess it's a little bit different though because everybody else is, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool, man. That was one of the. I hope High Rollers, man. Long live High Rollers Jiu-Jitsu, man. Long live High Rollers BJJ. Shout out to Mighty Matt and Big Lon. They're doing great things, man. It's a great event. You know what I'm saying?
They're really good people too. I've trained with Lon before, and then Matt and I met at the Comedy Store at this Rogan show I was on, and like when he was telling me what he was putting together, I thought it was so fucking dope.
It's special. It really is a special thing, man, and I hope they keep it going, dude. They have my support.
Do you think that it helps kind of destigmatize weed to see high-level athletes doing something that you wouldn't kind of assume stoners would do, which is beat the shit out of each other?
For me, it's not a big deal. I'm not surprised. I know all these motherfuckers smoke weed, but I'm sure to the average person who thinks that athletes don't smoke weed, it's probably pretty shocking.
For sure.
I saw some people, some like old school BJJ black belts talking down about it, about how it's trying to encourage drug culture and think of the children and all this. Have you had any of that negatively thrown your way being associated with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a lot of people tell me they think I'm a shithead drug dealer or something like that. So,
what do you? How do you combat that, or does it not even phase you?
You know, I don't know. I just kind of take it in stride, man. Shit like that don't bother me.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, being called like a drug peddler also probably gets you.
That's amazing.
I'm gonna ask a relationship advice, Drew. If you don't jump in.
All right. I gotta throw one more Jocko one in here before we disappear, because we're actually sponsored by Origin, one of his companies.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're great guys, and I've only seen Jocko roll once in one video, and it looked like a silverback gorilla destroying somebody onto his territory. So I want to come back to. When you're training with him, do you put yourself in these shitty situations, or is it just a game?
You know, I didn't roll with Jocko that much. It was kind of like, it would always be really playful when we rolled, mostly because like he's so big, I'm so little. It's kind of like, I don't know. It was kind of weird. I didn't really roll with him or Dean like too hard like that. Yeah. So that's kind of a hard question for me to answer. You know, Jocko was always so cool to me, and just. It would be like, Glover, fucking Jeff Glover, like, he's the man. It would be like him, like, telling everybody I'm the shit. And like, fuck yeah, man, this Jocko guy's cool.
So when you're training to compete, who is it that you rely on for good training?
Well, you know, I haven't trained to compete in probably like 2 years now. But when I used to do that, I would just, you know, make use of what was available to me. You know, I don't really, like, look for good training partners. I make good training partners.
What do you mean by that?
Well, like I teach the people around me how to be tough. So that way I don't have to like search out for people somewhere in some other town. Like, oh, next city over has this dude. I'm going to go train with him. Like,
right.
That's cool too. But I also want the people that are around me every day to be a challenge to me. So I make sure that I'm not like a player hater on their game, and I bring the people around me up.
So when you're trying to bring up like local blue belts or purple belts to help you train for stuff like that. What do you think the most important thing? What do you focus on? Do you focus on just like grit and toughness? Do you focus on technique? Like when you say making the best training partners, what are you looking for?
I mean, mat time, jiu-jitsu time, training hard, learning techniques, improving muscle memory and timing and, fitness and nutrition and all that shit.
Oh yeah. Jeff, were you vegan for a while?
Yeah, I'm going to do it again, man. My fucking arthritis is coming back, dude. Whenever that shit happens, I stop eating fucking animals.
Dude, I was vegan for like 15 years and I felt like my cardio and recovery was great. I started eating meat again and I feel strong for the first time. But I've been thinking about going back recently too. Like I trained with like Gio, who I know you've competed against, and like he's pretty much vegan. Do you notice a difference training wise?
I just remember that all my like joint inflammation pain went away when I started doing this shit. So,
Are you training a lot of gi right now? Is that what's bugging your joints?
No, what's bugging my joints is I've been eating a lot of sugar and fucking acidy foods and a lot of bread and a lot of carbs and a lot of not vegetables.
Yeah. No, I fucking get it. All right. From someone, Jeff, who has been wronged by many a women, what is your no, I don't want relationship advice for you. What's your hookup advice for the young blue belts out there, male or female? What's your charm? What's your lady advice? Then we'll let you go get high at Magic Mountain.
That's a good question.
Fuck yeah, it is. You hear that?
You know that song by Katy Perry? You're hot, then you're cold. You're strong, then you're no. You're left, then you're... You know that song?
Yep.
You have to be hot and cold, man. If you're just one temperature all the time, dude, that throws people off. Man.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. Jeff, you're fucking great, dude. I really want to get out there and train one day. You've been one of my favorite jiu-jitsu players for like a very long time, man.
Hey, I appreciate that. You mind if I throw a couple shout-outs?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, drop them.
Yo, shout out to Frangia. Shout out to Scotty Nelson. Shout out to Gene LaBelle. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the old school guys. And shout out to all the white belts, man.
Fuck yes. All right, dude, we got to come back on again sometime, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, boys. Cheers.
All right.
Yeah, it's been fun, Jeff. See ya.
Bye.
Thank you so much to Jeff Glover. Follow him on Instagram. I'm excited about all of
before this account gets taken down. His Instagram's been taken down like 4 times.
Has it?
Oh, dude, he's had to rebuild it. Joe Rogan shouted him out the one time, like the third time it got taken down. Like, you got to follow this guy, and he got his numbers back up. But yeah, it's I don't know why they just keep nuking his accounts.
Jesus Christ. Well, we got him. Maybe we haven't done the interview yet. Hopefully, we did. So guys, I'll just fucking say it. If you want to if you love animals and if you want to properly pay respect to my dead cat, superrareshop.com. I didn't have any other ideas. superrareshop.com. If you want, before Talib Kitty, my cat, before he passed, I went to the back of the hospital and I held his little hand and I was crying and he was scared, but once he saw me, he was okay. And he put his head against mine. And you know how like with animals, sometimes like they can't talk. I'm not a fucking idiot, but you can like see in their eyes, like that they love you or that they're scared or that they feel safe. When I looked into his eyes, he said, tell the world to buy the best fight gear at superrareshop.com or their stores in New York and LA. And I was like, but don't you want to say you love me? Like, remember I got you from a kill shelter? And he was like, superrareshop.com.
Did you get this URL, Jamie? Don't miss this. This is my last wish.
Because I always fuck up the URL. Like, I always forget there's one S. Can you, what's the URL? He was like, tell Drew to be the one to say the website.
SUPERAREshop.com, and super rare is one word with one R in the middle.
Yeah, and then I was just like, well, Talib, do you remember like when we spent Christmas together and you got back from the hospital and like we built like a fort under the blanket and like I cried and you felt really safe because you were scared in the hospital and you curled up, and then I looked into his eyes for some kind of response and he was like, they also have boxing gloves and mouth guards. And then I got kind of pissed off and I was like, fuck Super Rare Shop. But it's what he wanted.
You know what's weird is how often pets say that exact thing at their death. I hear that super common, super common, which is strange because the shop is super rare. That was a weird wordplay.
Weren't you telling me this story about you were driving through the backwoods of Canada and you like hit?
That's right. Yeah, I hit a moose, and not just any moose. It was an albino moose, which are very rare.
Right.
And the thing about albino moose is not only are they rare, but they're considered as spirit animals to a lot of the Native Americans up here, and they're said to imbue certain wisdom from the gods.
Sure.
And go figure, the same thing.
Stop it.
I'm not kidding. That moose covered in blood, which is
SUPERARE even sponsored us.
Well, you know, it's cosmic powers. They can see time's not linear. I'm just a mere mortal that's passing on what this godlike creature said to you after I crushed it with my Honda.
God, I get it.
Yeah.
And so what did he say? Because I remember you told me that like his little baby moose children were standing at the side of the road. And like you would have thought maybe he had a message for them, like protect my children, go find your mother. Or maybe if he had a son who was watching after you hit it with your Honda, he'd be like, you are the man of the family now.
Well, I mean, it wasn't heartless. It said that it wanted some of those new Bruce Lee threads for his white children who now no longer have an albino moose parent to guard them. So he wants them to have some street cred with some kick-ass dragon Bruce Lee, awesome, proprietary, sick-ass looking T-shirts.
Oh, he said so much. He got so much in before he died.
Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't actually crush his lungs.
I can imagine you keep trying to walk away and he's like, wait. They're sick ass. And you're like, all right, man, I got to go. I have a family. Well, all right. If you want to honor the wishes of Talib Kitty, my fucking king and my best friend who I lost, or the endangered species that Drew so callously murdered in Canada with his fucking Honda, you can once again go to superareshop.com and you get 15% off, which is pretty fucking great. If you use promo code rear naked. No space, promo code rear naked, and support them because they fucking support our show and they really believe in it, and we really believe in them as well.
Hell yeah, we're gonna build the Super Rare crew as we build the Rear Naked Radio crew all at the same time.
Love it so much. Cool. Well, I got a question.
Yeah, let's hit it.
I'm gonna reward usually Drew on his massive Instagram. Ask for questions.
Mighty. I prefer mighty.
His mighty Instagram. But this dude just fucking shot me a line and found little old Jamie.
This is one of those guys that you sniped last episode. Swear to God.
At the Jamie Kilstein.
Here he goes again.
By the way, if you write Drew, he has way too many DMs. If you write me, your question will get read, no matter how bad it is, because I'm so excited.
You're going to get so many dick pics right now.
At the Jamie Kilstein. I thrive on your dicks. Okay. So he goes, all right, dude. First off, Rear Naked Radio is fucking cool. I love it. So keep it up. I have a question that you guys might be able to advise on. I hear you say that you didn't tap anyone until blue belt, and I feel I'm in a similar situation. I'm a white belt, been training for about 2 years. I never get the tap. I'm pretty much in defensive mode from the go. I feel more technical attacking against the blue belts and the other white belts. I'm the smallest guy at my gym and feel overpowered and useless most of the time. So my question is, how did you feel as a white belt never tapping anyone? What do you think changed once you got your blue belt? And are these blue belts at my gym just fucking with me? Rob. So you want to hit it first? I have a bunch of thoughts on this.
Sure. Well, you might as well hit the mentality side of it, because I can't speak to that, because I was pretty awesome as a white belt.
Piece of shit. I almost spit out my water.
But I can hit the technical side if you want, like what you might be able to do to improve that.
That was even more dickish. Is I'll get the technical. You get the
Yeah,
stuff.
I'll give the answer that helps if you want to give them the answer about why
Yeah,
you sucked.
if you want to give them the big dumb couldn't tap anybody answer, I'll give the more academic approach.
Correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, a couple things. Like, I love, like, Kyotera is one of the smallest fucking jujitsu, the famous jujitsu black belts. And, you know, you walk into his gym and on the wall it says technique conquers all. And that is true. And I've said it before that what I lost in getting the shit kicked out of me for 2 years, I gained in technique, and that made me much better at blue belt, purple belt, brown belt. So I wouldn't take it back at all. No fucking way. I think Kaio actually told me a story. It may have been off the books. So let's say there was a very famous fighter. He had a brother. His brother was much bigger. When they started, the bigger brother was using a ton of strength. Littler guy wasn't. Little guy goes on to be one of the most famous fighters in the world. Big guy kind of got crushed, at least in the beginning when he started fighting people his own size, right? So it's going to be great. And that I've talked about on the show before. How did I feel going through it? And I talk about this on my podcast with things that aren't just jujitsu. It could be jujitsu. It could be learning how to play guitar. It could be, you know, whatever, which is, I don't know if I gave this, if I told this story on the show, but Henry Rollins once gave me advice that he goes, as long as you don't quit, so many people quit every day, you'll succeed. You will eventually you will at least be making a living doing your dream.
That's such a metal thing to say, too.
Dude,
just don't be a bitch. Stop quitting all the time, and you're going to be so much better than all these other bitches that quit all the time.
100%. And so what I always focus on, I've chose really hard things in my life, right? Stand-up comedy, podcasting, jiu-jitsu, music, you know.
Not the things that parents tend to send their kids to Ivy League schools for.
Dude, I said this on stage, but it is a true thing where there was a point where me and my dad were arguing about me dropping out of high school. And he goes, what if comedy falls through? You need a backup plan. And earnestly, with no irony, I said, a backup plan? Calm down, Dad. I play in a band.
I thought you were going to say that. I got a punk band.
Oh, it was a jam band. It was even fucking worse than a punk band. Less marketable. And so you can't really be on the radio with a 45-minute mushroom-inspired improv jazz fusion tune.
I see Jamie as that person in life equivalent to when you start a video game you've never played before. And you're like, I'm just going to start it on expert mode.
That's me.
And I want all of the hard things to happen. That's how I'm going to do this. I could do it easy, but we're going to do it all hard.
Well, what's going to make it easy is my trusty sidekick, my cat, who will be around forever.
Forever.
And my girlfriend who's not going back to Texas on Monday. So, okay, so check it out. So if you're doing something you love, which is jiu-jitsu, or, you know, you're working a job you love, you want to run your own business, you're learning guitar, whatever, you have to enjoy the process. And so the answer is, I didn't think about being a white belt who never tapped anyone. If I showed up every day being like, I'm the guy who doesn't tap anyone, I probably wouldn't have gotten good. Even if I was like being humble and talking about, you know, learning technique and blah, 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 I probably wouldn't have gotten as good as I got. I went in being like, fuck yeah, jiu-jitsu. I want to learn more. I want to get a little better every day. And because that was my attitude and I loved the process, and loving the process means you love getting your ass kicked too. You know, loving the process was stand-up. I mean, I'll name drop again where David Tell told me once, he goes, you either have a good show or a good story, which means if you're going to go down, like go down fucking swinging. Like when comics get together, we don't talk about the times we killed. We talk about our stories. We talk about bottles getting thrown at us. You live for those fucking stories. I mean, I remember I have I watched Louis C.K. bomb. I watched fucking David Tell bomb. I've watched my favorite comics eat shit. And those are the ones that I tell with like this like heroism behind it, you know? So if you're enjoying the process and you're just excited to be there and learning, the getting good thing's going to happen kind of by accident. It's going to happen really like low key under the radar. And then you'll be fucking ready when it happens.
That's perfect. That's more or less exactly what I was going to say, but with more jiu-jitsu-y stuff. Um,
You didn't want to give your technical answer that you were
Oh, no,
being a
it's
little fucking
technical.
asshole about?
Hold on there, hearts and minds. It's coming. What I was going to say is, especially because now that I know that you're a smaller person, the person talking, not just you, Jamie.
Yeah.
My instructor is also a smaller person. He's like a $145 soaking wet. And because of that, I started under him, seeing that small people do have the power to use this jiu-jitsu against bigger, stronger people, that his technique was super sharp because it has to be. Now, this is actually an advantage that smaller people will have over larger people, but not immediately. It's one of those long-term advantages where you said you're a couple years in, you probably already felt it a few times, and it's only going to get better, where if you can't make a move work, you can't have your strength to rely on. You can't have that NOS button you can hit these big guys to just lift you off and stand up.
Right.
That doesn't work when you're a small person. So the only good answer is going to be the proper technique. And so the better you get at the proper technique, just in general, is going to improve your jiu-jitsu faster overall than the big guy who can fake it till blue belts with strength and then starts getting crushed by purple belts who are smaller than him because they have the technique.
I'm really glad you said that, because something I haven't said before when talking about this, and this is one of my favorite topics to talk about, is like, you're not going to get there by just being smaller, to be very clear. You need to put more effort in to being technical, to asking like, hey, am I doing fucking hip escapes right? Am I doing, making sure you have every little intricate placement? Like, I ask a fuckload of questions. At brown belt, you would think I'm like the blue belt with like the amount of coach, because I want to make sure I'm doing everything properly. So yeah, just to be very clear, I don't mean like by default being small, you're going to get more technical. It's like, no. You have to put in a fuckload of work to become that technical, which, like Drew said, you're kind of forced into. Let that be an advantage. But if you don't put in the work and you're just like, Helio Gracie, he did it, but you're just kind of being lazy, or you're accepting that you're going to get your ass kicked, you need to become innovative. That's what Eddie Bravo was talking about last week. You need to figure out what works for you, what fucking doesn't. Because some stuff as a small guy is just straight up not going to work for you.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Be careful who you're listening to when you're learning new techniques, and make sure that they don't involve so much strength that it's not going to work for you against a bigger person.
Yeah, go watch Ryan Hall DVDs, Jeff Glover, all of these guys. Like, find role models who play a kind of game you want to play, and then make it your own. And then you'll get to a point where you get to like be the one who innovates shit, and then you'll have your story about not tapping anyone. I mean, I really didn't realize that until I got my blue. It was like the week before I got my blue belt, and there was some guy who was my size, and Marcelo was watching, and I was like, I have to kick the shit out of him. So like the day before I got my blue belt, I went from not tapping anyone to like, I must have tapped this guy like fucking 15 times in a round. And suddenly I was like, it's all come together. It was this really weird moment. And then I literally did inventory where I'm like, is this the fucking first time I've tapped someone? And then I was like, yeah. And I just went from literally nothing to like beating the shit out of somebody. And I was like, oh. And then that'll give you, by the way, another reason you'll skyrocket.
Just wait, can I interject here? Because the way I'm looking at that, if this was an anime, I can just picture you going Super Saiyan all of a sudden. Like, it's just been building up. It's been building up. It's been building up. And finally, the master is watching. All the rage explodes at once. This green or yellow aura. Your hair changes colors. And then you tap this white belt who probably didn't have it coming 15 times in front of him.
He did not have it. He did not. That was my B. That was my bad. That guy may have driven that guy out of jiu-jitsu. You
got to break a few white belts to get a blue belt. There's a baking analogy in there.
I like that you were like, man, I made some dorky analogies with video games and anime. How do I win them back? Baking. Well, cool. Drew, I got to say, on a personal level, dude, even doing the podcast today, like having you have my back yesterday, what was the hardest day of my life, was such a big fucking deal. I'm so excited that we get to like roll together and do this fucking seminar. And yeah, if this seminar works, guys, or if you have schools already where you're like, oh, I want to do that, contact us, because this is our goal. This is what we want to do. We want this to be more than a podcast, but to be like, we're going to take over. Anytime you're like, oh, those guys, that was shitty commentary during those fights, or you're like, hey, I wish I could, it's going to be us. So that's the goal. So we're
plug and play, baby. Plug us into those situations. Get
on that shit early. Contact us, write in your questions, all that stuff. And thank you guys to everybody who reached out to me. It honestly, like, it really, really, really got me through. So thank you. Anything you got to plug?
I'm still working on that reverse Kimura. I've now got my gear in from our awesome sponsor Origin, that we're going to make this thing happen. It's going to be available online. I'll keep people up to date with that, shooting it in about a week from now. So I'm super stoked about that.
Cool. For me, yeah, Darkhaven Studios in Albuquerque, first week of February. I'll be doing a 3-hour seminar with Nate Harris at their 10th Planet, which I'm really excited about. Second to last week of February is when Drew and I will be doing our joint seminar at 10th Planet in Alabama. Stand-up dates, if you follow me on Instagram and Twitter, it looks like I'm going to be in New Brunswick, Connecticut, Phoenix in April. These are all, those two are opening for Jeff Dye. I'm headlining in Phoenix, Minnesota, Calgary. We'll try to set up a joint seminar.
That's right. You're coming up to Alberta.
Yeah. And then I go to Vancouver as well. So it's the comic strips there, House of Comedies in Minnesota and Phoenix. And I'll have more details on that. But that's just, if you're in those cities, prepare yourself. And then I'll give details when we're closer. All good?
Sick. Yeah.
All right. Love you guys. Thank you very much. Go beat someone up, and we'll see you next week.
See you next time, guys.
Bye.